Hi everyone, welcome. So we will be practicing yin today. You might want some props. So if whatever you have handy in the house, maybe some pillows, blanket, perhaps a bolster or stacks of cushions. Yeah. So let's get started on the mat. I mean, this doesn't even need to be practiced on a mat. You could lay out a blanket on your carpet on the floor. And I'll invite you to get started in any posture that feels most appropriate and supportive for you. In the beginning 5-10 minutes, I'll be talking through a little bit the theme. So something that's going to make you feel supported. We are working with the wood element today, which is a lot about feeling like grounded and supported, which might mean that you want to come up close to some wall space, and you could sit like that so that the whole of the back is supported and the whole of the bottom of the body is supported. And this can be a really interesting way to feel held by the structures around you. But you might also be really tired and you actually want to lie down, in which case that's a great option too. So maybe you come onto your back, either in a traditional Shavasana with the legs out long, or a bolster under the knees. Perhaps even the feet on the floor, the knees knocking in to touch to support one another. So this is a great opportunity as we start to notice how your body feels, whether you might be craving coming down to the floor or whether you want that upright supported posture. And all of them are good options, so there's no right or wrong. I'll let you get settled wherever you are. Before you start to turn the gaze inwards, you might look around your room a little bit, orientate yourself to where the exit is, where the door is, to the walls in the room, and to the types of things that you can see around you. So the colours, the objects, the textures even. And eventually start to draw your gaze inwards. So notice how the body might be moving as you're breathing. So as you breathe in, can you feel a rise in the belly or the rib cage, the chest? And as you breathe out, can you feel that gentle drawing inwards on the out breath? Could be that you close the eyes here, or maybe take the gaze down the nose. And start to really bring your awareness now specifically to the points of contact between the body and the support that you're resting on. So if you're lying down, this will be all across the back of the head. If you're in that seated wall supported position, then you'll be feeling this beneath the seat bones, the legs and the back. Keep drawing your focus, your felt bodily awareness to the sensation of touch between the points of contact of the body and the support that you're resting on. Today's yin practice is really informed by the wood element. So yin yoga works with our fascia, which is our deep connective tissue, and it works passively. So in our active stretches, we might often be like flexing the feet, keeping the back long when we fold forward, all this kind of stuff. In yin, we can be super passive with it. We might relax the feet and round the back as we lean forward, depending on the different types of postures. And we hold it for time in yin. So typically 3, maybe to 6 minutes today, we're going to be holding some of them. But for now, you're in your relaxing opening posture, arriving in the space, orientating your awareness to here and now. Of course, there'll be thoughts pulling the attention away. That's normal. But what can you really notice about your experience right now? Again, the feeling of the body supported, the points of contact, the breath coming in and out. If it's not comfortable to be still, then you're always welcome to bring a little movement in as well. You might clasp the hands into fists, squeeze the hands and release a few times. Or maybe you bring the thumb pad to the forefinger pad and rub them together, and then do the same on the middle finger, the next finger, and the little finger. You can do that as many times as you like as well. So really honoring that. For some, it might be welcome to be in stillness. And for others, stillness might not be the thing. You might want to bring a little movement in that might help you pay closer attention to here and now. And maybe there's a sigh of relief on the next exhale to know that there's no right or wrong way to practice today. It's whatever feels most supportive for you. So Yin Yoga can draw on Taoist theory and the meridians of traditional Chinese medicine. So we'll be working with the wood element from TCM today, and that can be very much linked to renewal, to new beginnings, rebirth. The wood element is traditionally linked to the spring season. So you might be practicing this whilst you're experiencing spring in the environment around you. Or maybe there's more of a symbolic spring happening. You could even be in the depths of winter, it's cold outside, but there's some sort of new beginning happening in your life, some sort of fresh start. The wood element allows us to stay rooted to our foundations, perhaps connected to our past, to what shaped us, grew us, as we stand firmly grounded in the present moment, and also grow branches up towards the future ahead. So as you take a few more moments of rest here, I'm going to sprinkle a little intention into this practice. And that intention is that this yoga practice we're moving through today can act as a form of tending to the soil. So we'll use that as a bit of a metaphor. Nutrient-rich soil creates an environment that is conducive to growth. In organic sustainable farming, tending to the soil to get really good nourishing soil can take years, but it's so worth it to create soil that yields a nutrient-dense, successful, strong crop, resilient crop. And these small, consistent steps over time for long-lasting impact can maybe be how we see our own well-being practices, as a form of tending to the soil to support our growth. When you're ready, take a deep breath in and a long sigh out. Begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Shift and stir until eventually you find yourself in a child's pose. So this child's pose, you can have the knees as wide as works for you. Maybe you bring them a bit closer together. Have a little try and see what feels like you've got space for your belly, space to come forward. We're wanting to get our forehead supported. So if your forehead doesn't touch the floor, then I'd advise to bring some blocks or pillows to rest your forehead on, or even stack your hands in little balls and rest your forehead there. We've got our bum coming back towards our heels. Again, if there's a lot of space there, then you might stack a bolster or pillows underneath to bridge the gap. Or maybe your forehead comes to the floor, your hands walk all the way forward. So let the head be heavy. And as you rest in your child's pose, maybe you could really focus on breathing into the space between your shoulder blades. So that as you breathe in, the upper back puffs out. And as you breathe out, can the shoulders relax a little more? Maybe the chest bows a little closer to the earth beneath. And keep bringing your awareness to that feeling of supportedness, of groundedness. So the literal ground beneath your body. How does it feel physically for your body to be touching the ground? The shins, the feet on the ground, the forehead on the ground, or on the support that you have beneath it. How does it all feel? Maybe it's like a feeling of gravity pulling you towards the ground, or maybe you notice a feeling of the ground pressing up towards your body. Begin to rock your head side to side. So you're getting a little pressure on the brow, that space between the eyebrows. Then we'll roll up. And let's take a moment in seated. So this could be kneeling, maybe you come to cross-legged if that's more supportive. We'll bring the palms to touch, the finger pads to touch, the thumb pads to touch. And we'll bow our head down and bring the knuckles of the thumbs to between the eyebrows. Start to make circular motions there and apply a bit of gentle pressure, or maybe a bit quite firm pressure, depending how it feels for you. Now this area we might sometimes frown or furrow the brow. So see what it's like to bring in a little bit of touch there. Maybe there's some tension that can be released. Let's put the circles in the other direction now. And then if you like, you could separate the hands and start to brush out from the center, so all across the brow, to the left and to the right from this central point. We're now going to pop down to our bellies for Sphinx posture. So different people will have different ways of doing this. We'll all start in the same way. So with the elbows a little bit further forward than beneath the shoulder, the palms to the ground. If this feels a bit pinchy in your lower back, we want to avoid that sensation. So maybe you bring the arms more forward and the chest a bit closer to the ground. Maybe you keep the arms where they are, but you lengthen through the tailbone and press the pelvis into the ground. That might help a little. We've got this sense of the shoulder blades drawing together behind the back, and let's take the gaze down the nose so the back of the neck can be long. You might be used to practicing this as seal. Maybe your lower back feels absolutely fine and you come further up even with the chest. So I'll let you choose which option is yours today. And then we'll settle back in with that awareness to the feeling of the ground beneath. So this is an interesting place to feel the breath, because as you inhale, the belly, the rib cage presses against the ground. And as you exhale, it gently draws back. I'll leave you with some quiet moments to focus in on the feeling of the body on the ground. Inhale, take a deep breath in. Let your exhale be the cue to wing the elbows out to the side, stack the hands one on top of the other, and release the forehead down to rest. Really let the legs relax, the glutes relax here. You might even rock the hips slightly side to side before settling and relaxing down onto the ground. Same as I said at the beginning, stillness might be a really welcome sensation for your body, and you really sink into that stillness. Or you might feel more the inclination to move, and then you could kick your feet up to the air, so bend at the knees, and swish the legs side to side if you want to explore a bit of movement here instead. Then again, rock the forehead side to side so you're massaging out the brow a little bit. Before lifting the head, dropping the legs if they were up. We'll pop our hands onto the floor and come up into a tabletop position. So we're going to do a toe stretch now. This can be an interesting way to work with some of the founding principles of Yin, because in Yin, some of the sensation isn't entirely comfortable. And we're looking to feel a little bit of sensation, not too much, so not too unbearably intense or just too intense in general, not too little so that we feel nothing, but somewhere in between, somewhere we're able to sit and breathe with it. It might not be entirely comfortable, but it's not way too intense. So let's come onto our knees. You can always pad cushions under the knees if it's not comfortable on the mat and the floor. We'll get our toes on the ground. Maybe you can get every toe, the little toe on. And this bum might come all the way to the heels, hands to the heart. Maybe you need to be closer to the ground to edge away from some of that intensity. You could even bring the forearms to the ground. So I'll let you pick a place that feels like you can hold it for about 2 minutes is what we're going to be doing. So you can feel sensation. It's not far too intense. It's not too little. And then we'll stick with focusing our awareness in on the breath. A lot of the traditional approaches to teaching Yin is to really strictly stay in stillness. But I quite like a softer approach. It helps my nervous system to know that I'm not stuck somewhere in a posture, and to know that if I need to come out, I absolutely can. So I'd like to affirm that for you as well. You're in control. If at any point you want to shift or move out of the posture, that's your choice and option to do so. Let's keep with those long breaths in, long breaths out. Might even help you to count the breaths. So you might count in for 4 and out for 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, and so on, if that helps you. Okay, it's the last 15 seconds now. Maybe you are happy to know that it's nearly over. We've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness, I'm happy to know it's over. Let's pop the hands to the ground and tap the feet out a little bit. Oh yeah, animals tend to get interested by the sound of tapping feet. They're like, what's going on? You might want to take a bit of a down dog here as well, so feel free, or maybe some cat-cows, bit of movement. So I'm going to give you that free time to explore what kind of movement your body might be interested in making now. And then the next couple of postures we have before we will relax back in our Shavasana is Sleeping Swan. So some of you will be used to doing this already. You'll know what you're doing. It's going to be from a tabletop. Bring the right knee to behind the right wrist. And we settle this left foot all the way back and try and get a sense of balance in the pelvis, so we're not leaning too far right, not leaning too far left. Maybe sometimes a blanket can help under the right hip. This could be a big no for all kinds of reasons, in which case there's a lovely option as well, where you pop the left foot on the floor, you cross the right ankle behind the left knee, and you gently push the right thigh away, or even hug the left leg in. And that's another way to do this. So if you come into a sleeping swan with the front knee forward on the ground, you might want to start by staying upright for a few moments and letting the pelvis feel a bit stable before relaxing forward. And the hands can stay on the floor, the forearms can stay on the floor, or maybe you relax down towards the ground. Again, remember that principle around finding the middle ground. So not too much, not too little in terms of the physical sensations you can feel in your body. Know that you can always back off. And you can always go in a little bit deeper at any point if that feels right, if it feels like the body is inviting you to do so. Or of course, stay exactly as you are. If you're doing this option on your back, then really let the head be heavy. Let the head rest back on the ground. And whichever option you've taken, let's really focus on relaxing the face. Inhale to gently find your way up and out. You might come to a down dog or tabletop cat cows if you're doing this front ways. If you're doing it back ways, then you could stay lying back, stay with the head on the floor, and hug the knees in for a little rock side to side. So if you're on your back, next we'll take right foot to floor, left ankle beneath right knee, push the left thigh away, and then decide if you're going to relax there or hug the right leg in. If you're doing this, the front, same thing, we'll bring the left knee towards the left hand, so same thing on opposite side. We'll take that right leg all the way back. Check the pelvis is feeling stable here, balanced, not too far one way, not too far the other. And maybe you pop up for a moment to notice that stability in the pelvis before dropping down. You can also do this staying up the whole hold. So find where is going to support you for our hold. Take with your deep full breath. Remember, you can count the inhale and the exhale if that helps you to remain present in this current experience. Or you might even allow the mind to drift and wander, rather than trying to focus it in on one thing. Got a little bit longer here. Remember, you can stay exactly where you are. You might come in a little deeper or back off a little bit even. Check where is that middle ground. Then when you're ready, inhale as the cue to find your way out of this posture. So might come back to a down dog if you were on your front. Might hug the knees in if you're on your back. Take any bits of movement that feel interesting to you. And know that when we come out of these yin postures, it can feel a bit stiff. Then when you are ready, I invite you to find what feels most supportive for your shavasana, for your final relaxation. So that doesn't have to be lying on your back. Again, you could opt for the seated posture with the wall behind to really feel that supportive structure holding the body. Or you might really be ready to lie on your back to relax back. Legs over some cushions or a bolster beneath the knees, perhaps, for extra support. And coming back to that metaphor of tending the soil, you could think about creating the conditions for yourself here to support a relaxation process. So is there anything you need to do to be even more comfortable? Maybe switch a light off, maybe put something over the eyes, maybe get a blanket over the body to stay cozy. I really invite you to set up the supportive environment for yourself before coming into a more internal gaze. So with the eyes closed or maybe lowered down the nose. Could be staring up at a fixed point on the ceiling even if you're lying back. But you're bringing the awareness, the focus back into the bodily physical sensations. So what is it that you can feel here? Again, that might be the points of contact between the body and the ground. There might be some other physical sensations you notice, like hunger in the belly or like rumbling. Maybe there's tightness or even pain somewhere in the body. It might be that you are dealing with an injury or chronic pain at the moment. And if you do notice there's areas of tightness and pain in the body, can you also notice other areas that might be free from that? Maybe even an area we don't think about much, like the big toe mound or the tip of the little finger. I also want to acknowledge that it might be really difficult to sense the physical sensations. Maybe you don't notice anything at all. That's still noticing, so you're still bringing awareness. That's great. I'll leave a few moments of quiet now. A few moments of integration. If you have quite a visual way of thinking, and if it helps, then you might imagine yourself resting back in a beautiful garden, an outside space that feels safe and supported by nature. Maybe even with spring imagery, so wildlife in abundance, blooms of flowers, new growth sprouting from the earth. I'll leave you a few moments rest here. If you have the time, the space, the desire, then you're very welcome to stay resting. You might want to close the laptop or device down and stay resting. If you're ready to end the practice, then I'll guide a closing moment for us. So start to deepen the breath. Maybe take the deepest breath you've taken all day. And a big sigh out the mouth on the exhale. Bring some movement in, wiggle the fingers, the toes, maybe rock the head side to side. If you are lying down, then hug your knees in towards your chest and roll over to one side so that you end up curled up in a little ball over on the side. Eventually prop yourself up to seated. And I'll invite you, if you like, to place one hand over the heart space, over on the left side of the chest. Maybe the fingertips touch the collarbone, quite a firm touch. And then place the other hand on top, again, quite a firm pressure. Take a moment here to notice that connection between the palms and the chest, between the seat bones and the ground, and between the back and the wall if you've got a wall behind you. Know that you are supported. Maybe you bow your head down at this moment, a gesture of gratitude, perhaps, towards the practices and towards yourself for carving out this time and space. It's not always easy to actually come and practice and to meet yourself where you're at. So well done for being here. When you're ready, let's inhale, reach the arms up, blink the eyes open, gaze up ahead. Exhale, if you like, you can ground the hands down to the earth again. Feel that supported structure beneath. Maybe bow the forehead to kiss the earth as well before coming up. And that signals the end of our practice. So thank you so much for joining. And I hope that you feel supported, grounded, connected in with that wood element sense for the rest of the day. Bye from Evie as well. She's definitely teaching us how to relax. Bye-bye.